Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Maybe you're a racer, maybe you like to go off-roading and you've wanted an accessory for your vehicle and you thought, man, I wish someone would make that. Here's the guy that makes that. This is Curtis with Archetype Racing. And Curtis, you started with your race car and designing parts for that, and that's evolved into the off-roading industry, including some accessories for this Bronco. And where did it all start for the Bronco?
Well, for us, it started with our BAM, billet aluminum modular dash rail. So what this does is it takes your single 1/4 20 mount in your dash and converts it to all this real estate to mount your GoPros, your phones, navigation, all in a nice single sturdy unit.
And modular was the key word there, because you took a piece of that and then you made it into this piece.
Correct, yeah. So this is our tap. So it takes the center mount of the BAM and converts it into a smaller, more commuter-friendly for your phone or maybe a GoPro or a dash cam, nice, secure, and takes that single point and just expands it to something more flexible. A
little more of the everyday thing, and that's a huge seller, I know, for you as well. And this is a great looking piece here. This is called the MOSH. The modular O chute handle.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so this replaces the handle that comes with the Bronco.
Right.
I love the color. How many different colors can I get it in?
Gosh, we do about 8 or 9 different colors now, and we're rolling out Code Orange for the Raptor now. So most any color that accents the interior color of your Bronco, we'll produce it in.
And if I've got a unique color that I need you to match, can you do that for me?
Absolutely. Just email us with your paint code and we can get it done.
Cool. And how does this mount to the dash?
So you remove the kind of somewhat useless grab handle that's on your dash, and we will give you the 3/16 stainless mount bolts, and it'll mount onto this mount plate with a billet handle, and there you go. You've got a lot of area for 1/4 20 threaded locations for mount balls, flashlights, your navigation unit, microphone, all that.
Fantastic looking piece and a whole lot more useful.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good. And then onto the shackles here. These are some really cool looking shackles. You know, generally shackles are not that glamorous, but these ones are.
They are. So we took your traditional shackle and reimagined it to something that you would find on a modern vehicle. So what we have here is 7075 aerospace billet aluminum and a 3/16 stainless bolt. Both of those pieces are machined.
And I like here you have a little message for anybody who's rescuing you, something they've already figured out. You sent it too hard.
Sent it too hard.
Love it. Let's talk about the materials. You touched on that. What kind of materials are you using for all your pieces here?
So across the table here, we are using 6061 billet aluminum. There's 7075 billet aluminum, the 3/16 stainless steel bolts, and then 3/16 stainless is what we go to for all of our mounting hardware.
And where's everything made?
Everything's machined in-house in Silverdale, Washington.
Very cool. And you're a veteran yourself.
Veteran, yeah. This is a veteran-owned company, family managed. We do employ several veterans at our shop to machine these parts.
And Curtis has an engineering background as well as that military background, so you can see the tolerances on this. You know, we're talking thousands on something like this. This is, by the way, the Magnum step for the side of the Bronco here.
That's correct.
And we just saw it. If you push that together, that's for the two-door. If you want to add to the four-door here, of course, it's got a great design for it. It just goes together. A few bolts underneath, and then how does that actually install on the vehicle?
So we use these 7075 billet clamps. So they'll clamp onto your factory rock slider.
Which means there's no drilling.
No drilling.
Precious new Bronco.
Correct. So it basically transforms your rock slider that you rarely use, and now you're all set for school pickup, grocery runs. I mean, the step you use 7 days a week.
What if I want it higher?
Well, Dave, you can remove the 4 button head screws and reinstall your Magnum stirrup on the upper hole, and it's higher.
Another great looking piece over there, the stirrup there. How does it work?
So this is another 6061 billet piece, just a smaller version of the Magnum. Uses the same clamps, clamp-on design.
Easy enough. You can have one for each door, and an easy way to hop up into the vehicle there.
Yes.
And I know you have more of these steps coming down the line here. What's new?
We have the Magnum and the stirrup going to be available for the Gladiator, the JK, and the JL Wrangler very soon.
Jeep folks will love that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just off-roading. As I mentioned, you also design parts for racing and for streeting and some other things like that. So what other kind of parts can we find in your catalog?
Gosh, if you have a GT350 or GT500, we produce wings, front splitters, side splitters, canards, typical race car parts for those cars.
And not just billet aluminum either.
Correct. Yeah, those are billet aluminum and carbon fiber.
Archetype Racing is a veteran-owned business and a family-run business, and they make the highest quality accessories for your vehicle. Find them at archetyperacing.com. And find more Motorhead Garage presented by dragonfiretools.com right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. And by Campbell's Custom Care, your detail specialist.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now, Motorheads, you know how it is. You get in a fender bender, maybe you need a bumper, maybe you need a fender piece, something like that. Well, there's a few options, and I've seen a lot of folks driving around rooming with a body panel on there that's not painted, and they're waiting until they have a chance to get it painted. What's the problem with that?
Problem is that when you install a car part, especially the metal, sheet metal, like a fender or a hood, you install it in a car and you don't paint it, it's gonna rust right after the first rain. So a few weeks later, you're gonna have rust on your hood, and guess what? The part is garbage right after that. You can't really paint it anymore, because once you paint it, rust is like a cancer to a human being.
So there's no point in doing that. So then you can wait for the body shop to get you in. So what are some of the problems with that? Obviously, you're driving around with a wrecked car for a while.
Body shops are very expensive these days. We're half the price cheaper than most body shops out there, and we're very affordable. Body shops, they charge $350, $400 to paint a bumper. We charge $195.
And by we, Painted Auto Parts?
PaintedAutoparts.com.
Yeah, and so how many different cars do you offer parts for on your website?
Pretty much 98% of them out there. Everything that's available aftermarket, we do carry. We have about 90,000 different items.
And how many, what kind of different parts are we talking? Obviously, you have fenders and bumpers and that sort of thing.
Bumpers, fenders, hoods, headlights, grills, anything like exterior body parts.
And you send the parts actually painted right from your facility. Where are they painted, first of all?
In Chicagoland.
Very good. And are you using the VIN off of the vehicle, or are you using the paint code, or how does it work?
The customer must provide us with the paint code.
So if you have a custom paint job, still no problem. You guys can match that color.
As long as they provide us with the correct paint code, yes.
I know one of the big concerns our viewers are going to have is fitment. You're getting a part from, it's not an original part. How's it going to fit on the vehicle?
Very well, actually. The aftermarket companies have improved a lot in the past 10, 15 years. I started this 20 years ago. I remember having quite a few problems, car parts not fitting well, and a lot of complaints, and therefore a lot of the aftermarket companies have improved a lot. So I honestly rarely have any complaints about a part not being fit well.
What's the process like once I find out I need a part? How do I go about getting it from you at paintedautoparts.com?
Just go to paintedautoparts.com, select your year, make, and model, choose whatever part you need, bumper, fender, headlight, hood, whatever it is, just add it to cart. If it's a painted part, we have a drop-down menu, you can choose your paint code. Make sure, it's very important to get your own paint code from your own car. Do not call the dealer. A lot of times people call the dealerships, they give them the VIN numbers, and the dealerships give them wrong paint codes. Therefore, I do recommend that you obtain your own paint code from your own car yourself. Do not call the dealer.
And once you place the order, how long till I get my part?
It's 10 to 15 business days for painted parts. However, in a busy season like the spring, could take a few days more. We're a little behind, running a little behind.
Well, so it's still impressive. People have got to realize you can't stock painted parts already because you don't know what color and what part people are going to order. So you're stocking some unpainted parts, and then when folks order it, then you're shipping it at that point.
Yeah, some people they think that everything is ready to go and ships next day. But no, it is not. We have to actually physically paint the part before we ship it, so it's a process.
I know we've addressed the fitment there. What about the quality of the paint job? How does it compare to the OEM paint job?
We do the same job as any dealership would do, or a body shop. It's the same process. We prep the parts before we paint them, base coat, clear coat, and then we buff them after that. It's exactly the same thing like any body shop does, or the dealer.
It's the easy way to do things, it's the cost-effective way to do things, and it's going to match right every time. PaintedAutoparts.com is the place to go to get painted auto parts. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so keep it right here.
Motorhead Motorhead Garage, brought to you by Dragon Fire Tools, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage.
Always a great day here at Motorhead Garage, presented by Dragon Fire Tools. When Forney comes in and paints the town green, our friend Gabby's here, and all the folks from Forney, you've brought some cool stuff for show and tell. What's new in the Forney line?
Yeah, so we have our new 190 MP. So this is our 3/8 machine. So multi-process, MIG, TIG, stick. It is just a lift arc TIG, so you cannot put a foot pedal on it. It does have an Amphenol connector on the front though, which allows us to use a spool gun. So that's really cool that you can purchase this machine and then also have capabilities for spool gun welding. On our, lower model machine, on our 140 MP, we don't have that capability. So this kind of meets the ground in between our 220 MP and our 140 MP. So this unit here is our basic spool gun, and so we have it hooked up to this machine. The cool thing about this unit is that it has a true set, and so if you choose the thickness of wire that you're using with your machine, it's just going to give you a setting. So it's just going to allow that machine to set itself, and then you're ready to rock and roll and start welding.
What are the parameters you need to put in there?
Yeah, so you just need to select with your center button the thickness of wire that you're using, and then you're going to select your gas and your thickness of material that you're welding on, and it'll base your settings off of that. So you have a trim adjustment from +9 to -9, and what that does is it makes it warmer or colder because every welder likes their welds a little different, and so we didn't want to completely take that away, so you still have the options to adjust it. And then of course we have a manual mode as well.
People that really want control, they can do that one too.
Yes, exactly.
And this is the basic spool gun here. Forney has come out with a new design that's ergonomically improved and some other cool features on it here. So
yeah, so it's really awesome. What you do is here with our basic spool gun, your spool is up top. So you have a lot of weight on that back end that you can't really control. And so by dropping the spool on the bottom, we have created a center of mass. So if you hold the spool gun near the trigger, then you're going to be able to balance it. You're not going to run into issues to where that spool is getting in the way. There's also an adjustment here on the neck. So you can swivel this neck if you need to and then tighten it back down. You could weld with it in the up position. You could do overhead and vertical a lot easier as well. So we have a lot of customers who are purchasing these that are doing a lot of out of position welding, and it's working really great for them.
Forney's not just about welders, you also have plasma cutters here. And here's a new one from Forney. What's new and exciting with this one?
Yeah, so this is our 45P Pro. So this is a part of our Pro line of machines. Right now we have 2, so it's exciting because now this is our second unit. We have a 40P, and sometimes people ask us, well, why did you come out with a 45? It doesn't make sense, right? 5 more amps, why does that make sense? Well, with the new torch that we offer, the consumables and the life of consumables, as well as the performance you get out of this torch, you can cut up to 7/8 clean cut, and you could sever up to 1 1/8 inches. So that's a lot of power compared to our 1/2 inch machine. So this machine really, really kicks some butt. So
What are some of the features of these machines that make them easy to use?
So these machines are designed so that people don't have to put a lot of thought into it while they're getting ready to use it. So like with this 190 MP, that true set, right? So that makes it really easy for an end user just to come in, select their wire, their thickness of material, and just weld. So that makes that machine super easy.
And who are the folks that are using Forney? Who are most of your customers?
Yeah, so we have a wide range of customers. So we have DIY, farm and ranch, automotive, light industrial. We kind of hit all aspects of that between our Easy Weld line up to our Pro line. So it's awesome.
If you're doing any welding from mild to wild, Forney is the place to go, ForneyIND.com. More Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com coming up.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. And by Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, and this is a true story. Brought the Dauber Cruiser into Motorhead Garage, and I was going to check some fluids, open the hood up, and I see that the air filter has actually popped off the cold air intake, and that is because I was using a regular hose clamp, Nikki. It's the one that came with the vehicle. Why are hose clamps a bad idea?
Well, the hose clamp, the reason why they're a bad idea is because they don't have enough They're supposed to be stainless steel, and they're not completely stainless steel. They screw on, they create an oval. Vibration from the engine alone screws these off. So if you don't regularly maintain these and get in here and tighten them down, they're not going to stay. So you need something that's custom, that doesn't vibrate, doesn't come off, and that's where the clamp tight tool is going to work for you.
And how does it work now? What do we have to do to get to this point?
Basically, we're just going to cut a piece of wire, feed it around twice. We are using some pressure on this, so you kind of want to do twice around at least. And we're using a little bit larger wire as well on this, just for that. Now, we've attached the tool, we've tightened it, getting it nice and tight. Now, you are in a very tight area here, so get it as tight as you possibly can. Now, you want to go 180 if you can. This particular situation, it's a little tight, so 90 degrees is really all you need.
Okay.
What we're going to do now is we're just simply going to cut the wire wherever you can get to it. Get that tool out of your way. Yeah. Like I said, tight areas might be a little bit harder. You want to cut these tabs just a little bit smaller, push them down so they lock it in place, because that's that fulcrum point that you want it to be at. So just push them down, and then they're not catching as well.
And make sure you don't cut yourself there when you're
Absolutely.
Which beats the heck out of the traditional clamps.
Of course.
Which I cut myself every single time
All
I'm
the
using
time.
one. Yes. Now, you mentioned different sizes of wire. If I needed to get into a tighter space than that, is there another clamp tight tool that I could use?
There is. We have a mini tool that's a little bit smaller. Now, this wire size is about a 51 thousandths. I'm using that because of the material that you're working with. So the mini tool only goes up to about a 41. You could use that on here, and it would get into a little bit tighter. So the larger the wire, the harder the material you're working with, the smaller the wire, the smaller the hose, like 1/2 inch and smaller, your more flexible silicone hoses.
You guys refer to the clamp tight clamp as a permanent clamp, as a custom clamp as well. But it's not, it's permanent if you want to leave it on.
Right.
But if you want to take it off, how easy is that?
Yeah, actually just, those tabs we were talking about a little bit ago, you're just going to pull those tabs back out, just like so. Yeah, go like that. And then grab a hold of it. Just pull it out, and now you've got that wire.
It's just that easy. All right, Nikki, thanks. We're going to check in with your worst half up here. Kevin, Nikki talked about the 360 seal that the clamp tight tool makes.
Right.
Why is that so important?
Well, like on a regular worm-fed hose clamp, you get that flat spot. The whole problem is you've got a round hose, a round fitting, but you have a clamp that actually makes an oval. How do you expect it to seal 360 degrees when you're making an oval out of it? So with the clamp tight, true 360 seal, all the way around, no ovaling.
And for high pressure situations, that's especially important. What kind of feedback are you getting from customers that use the clamp tight tool on a high pressure application?
So we just did a truck show. Our truckers love the tool for an emergency situation. You're pulled off on the side of the road, you're waiting hours for a tow truck or a road ranger. The clamp tight tool makes a great emergency fix, gets you either to the next town where you can fix it another way, or, I mean, it is permanent enough that it can stay on. We have award winners, cars that this is their clamping system. The Amber Award winner last year, some of our other shows like in hot rod shows, things like that, this is their clamping system, so it's a permanent fix.
A lot of folks are building muscle cars and that sort of thing, maybe a resto mod. They want it to look like the original vehicle,
Sure.
and they want everything to be original equipment. That's why they're using the old hose clamps. But they can use a clamp tight tool instead and still get the original look. How do they do it?
Absolutely. So you just make your clamp up, and what you have is that true 360 seal, a clamp that actually works, and then you can slide your tower clamp over top of it. The problem with the original clamps are you can get them tight or you can get them off, but you can't do both. That's kind of the joke with them. They don't seal very well. So
The clamp tight tool has all kinds of automotive applications. You can use it for all kinds of things around the house or the farm. Use it on your truck on the road. You can find it at clamptighttools.com. You're going to want one. Trust me.
So many motor oils, so many types of motor oils, and so many different viscosities. When it comes to motor oils, which one should we put in our vehicle? Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. It's all about motor oil and viscosities, and I brought in Len, an expert. Why do we have an expert? Well, Len, I kind of got a rudimentary experiment when it comes to oil and how to explain viscosity. And what we did a little bit earlier is we took some 20W50 weight oil and we dropped a ball in it. And it's all kind of controlled, the temperature's controlled. You can see the ball going kind of slowly down there in that little vial as it drops down because that oil's thick. That's what viscosity means to me. Then we went ahead and got the 0W20 oil and and we did the same test. We dropped the ball in, and when we dropped the ball in, man, you can see that one's running right down. Kind of a controlled environment, but it seems a lot thinner. I know that's kind of rudimentary, but take us through that viscosity as an expert.
Yeah, that gets you there as a test. That's why I kind of like that. It gives you a real down and dirty look at what viscosity actually means. But in actual terms, multi-viscosity oil, meaning oil that has two numbers. Generally, the first number would be your cold temperature pumpability number. So generally taken at room temperature or lower in most cases, 0W, 10W. That's your low temperature number. So how is the oil going to act when it's cold? The other number is the interesting part. The other number is the oil's actual weight, but that weight is only accurate at 212 degrees F, also known as 100 Celsius. Okay, that is a standard at which all motor oils are graded in their weight. So if we have a 0W20, it's only a 20 weight at 100 C or 212 F. All oils, all synthetic oils are not created equal. The better the base oil that you start with in the product, with the less additives that you have to add, you'll see more consistency. You'll see more consistent pressure across a wide temperature band. Those are the products that we use in our Signature Series product.
Just too easy. Go to amsoil.com.
We cannot do this show without you, the viewer, so thank you so much for tuning in. And we can't do this show without great products coming through the studio here. So if you have one you want to see featured on Motorhead Garage, email me. Send a note to dave@motorheadgarage.tv. We'll get you here in our studio to show it off to the world. Until next week, from the greatest crew in television, we will see you here for another edition of Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com.